you are in a prominent position in the BSP. You're related to
Man.
Mayawati.
Yeah.
So how do you see this? How do you counter this charge?
See, empires are built and formed again and again over the ages. I think it is all right. It's all right for people to participate, families to participate. Uh, but I think being a democratic country, one's rise and fall depends on one's caliber. So if you are not capable, people will outsource. People will bring in the right set of people to lead the movement. And if we are capable, then we will be able to bring the movement forward.
We have with us BSP National Coordinator, Mr. Akash Anand, and we're going to talk about Lok Sabha 2024 elections, the party's vision for the state of UP and for the whole country, why BSP has not got into an alliance with any other party, and a host of other political issues. Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. So I'm more than happy to discuss all the issues that you just said.
Yeah, so if we go back to the 2019
Yeah.
Lok Sabha elections, BSP had contested in an alliance with RLD and Samajwadi Party.
Yes.
So why the decision not to contest? Because in 2019 you won 10 seats.
Yeah. So see, if you look at 2014 data as well, when we fought alone, we were hovering around 19 odd so percentage of vote share. In 2019, when we were in alliance, then also we saw our vote share at about 19 odd so percent. We feel that recently the narrative that have been created around us being the B team or trying to cut into votes to help BJP win, I think that's what we want to this time make it absolutely clear that BSP, when we fight alone, we continue to maintain our vote share. And the political parties which are not aligned at that particular junction, they are the ones actually cutting into our vote shares and helping the opposing BJP win seats. So I think it was just basically a statement at that time that we wanted to make, and I feel that we are quite competent and quite confident that we will this time take home the state.
Okay. So if I may ask, does the BSP feel that though it is able to transfer its votes to its ally, whoever it is in coalition with, the same is not the case with, say, SP transferring its votes to BSP candidates or the RLD doing so?
I mean, we've seen this in the data as well. Historically, it's not been very evidently very clear that they are able to, but as far as BSP and its voters are concerned, I think we are quite clearly able to divert our votes, push or support the alliance partner. But the same cannot be said otherwise.
What about the perception that BSP contesting alone will cut into the non-BJP votes and in a way help the BJP by dividing the opposition vote?
So I feel that it's sort of a negative way to put across by opposing parties that BSP is going to cut into their votes. Voters are not somebody's heirloom. It's that it is our vote or your vote. We are all political parties. We are all standing for the voters, and I think we deserve the equal right to go into the market and talk about what we believe and let the voters decide. The data of when we are in alliance and when we are not in alliance dictates that they are the one cutting into our votes instead of vice versa. So I'd highly suggest the other parties to take a note of that and start speaking in that manner.
Congress had tried to get close to the BSP after the 2007 elections, around that time when Mayawati was the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister. Do you feel, or is the view that BSP kind of fears the Congress eating into its votes is true?
No, not
or that
necessarily.
It was Dalit votes or the minority votes?
See, I think there is a principle and a fundamental challenge with Congress. I think we don't align on those lines. Whether it was giving reservation, whether it was giving representation to our people, whether it was about paying respect to our leader, Baba Sahab, I think Congress failed on miserably on those issues historically, and I think that's why we are not aligned with them. It's nothing to do with the votes or vote transferring from our to there or there to ours. I think it's a more principal issue that we are more concerned with.
And so, how do you see the India alliance, the India bloc, SP and Congress contesting together in UP?
I think they're becoming a distraction for the voters. I think they're trying, what they're eventually going to end up do is um, help BJP win seats rather than a strong opposition like BSP take place. Um, Vote shares say the same. I think the voters deserve to talk or to be voters deserve the right to know exactly where a particular political party stand on issues that matters to them. I think Congress has not been very categorically put that across to its voters. I don't think so. They've been able to discuss the free ration scheme. I don't think so. They've been able to discuss on employment. I think they've not been able to discuss on law and order. Reason being that they're already in power in a lot of other states, and I think they are part of that system of free giving schemes, right? And I think that's why they're not actually discussing the real challenges, real concerns of the people.
Okay, so one of the main poll planks for the BJP has been the welfare schemes that the Prime Minister has talked about.
Yeah.
The free food grain scheme, the
Yeah.
affordable housing,
Yeah.
Ujjwala, and a host of other schemes. How do you see BSP looking at these issues? I mean, the impact that it may have had, and what is the counter that?
So, see, whenever there is a free scheme, whether it is on ration, whether it is on subsidy on gas cylinders, I think addressing the base price, addressing the base back end costs, I think addressing those issues are more important than giving subsidies. For example, if you talk about free ration, so as per BJP, they're providing 80 crore people with free ration. That's a cost. I think somewhere the government had declared that it's going to cost the taxpayers about 2 lakh crores to feed 80 crore people. That's a cost borne by people who are paying taxes, especially the middle class. That 2 lakh crore that is being paid out of taxpayers' money, if they would have converted those 80 crore people into employed people, that would have added a minimum of 2 lakh crore to the GDP. And costing 2 lakh instead of a negative deficit, it would have added to the GDP.
Are you suggesting that this scheme should be discontinued?
Of course, I think the government should phase this out. If not immediately, then slowly and steadily they should phase this out. They should start working on providing employment. They should start focusing on fixing the infrastructure, the back-end costs that add up to a price hike in gas cylinders, in petrol. I think the government has not been able to successfully reduce taxes on those areas. I think they should focus on that instead of giving subsidies. And I think slowly and steadily, this will lower the burden on the taxpayers, decrease the deficit, and help us, improve the overall health of the economy.
What does the BSP think about how to create more employment, how to deal with this issue, and has the BJP done enough?
Certainly, when one side BJP is very proud to say that they have provided free ration to 80 crore people, they've certainly not done anything. Forget enough. They've not done anything.
To lift people out of the
poverty. Yeah. So 80 crore people are dependent on the government for daily food. So certainly they're not capable enough to earn for themselves. They're below the poverty line. If half the country is pushed below the poverty line, I think that's a big concern.
What are the other issues concerning the common people or the poor?
I think safety, security, law and order is the very big concern. Next is employment. And then the third is healthcare. I think that's the biggest issue. If poor people have to seek private hospitals for treatment, I think that's a big fail on our end.
There is the Ayushman Bharat scheme, 5 lakh rupees for.
So there have been multiple reports in the media as well, how that scheme has not actually benefited the people, but actually ended up costing them more. And at the end of the day, no matter what kind of scheme you put out, if you've got majority of your people below poverty line, India is not going to grow. it's going to create a burden of people who are actually trying to support the country by their tax money, and it'll become a resentment amongst them that why are we bearing the burden of half of the country when we are in return we are not able to get good healthcare, we are not able to get good infrastructure, we are not able to seek jobs for our younger ones. I think it's going to create an environment which is going to be very dangerous for the country in the coming years.
The party has been on the decline if you look at the number of seats.
Yeah.
I mean, 2014 was a bad phase for the BSP.
Yeah.
2019, because of the alliance and maybe some growth in the party, you campaigned extensively then. BSP got 10 seats. Do you think the 19% votes that you're talking about, BSP needs that extra other than the core votes, and that is not coming?
So we feel that BSP's co-voter continues to be with us. Right? As far as the floating voters that you're talking about, I think yes, they've been a little bit away in the recent past. But now that we're trying to recapture the mind space of our young voters, we feel that they'll come back to us. And
BSP has given tickets to a lot of minority candidates this time.
yeah.
This was the trend earlier also. So would that again, in a way, cut into the minority votes or into the opposition votes and help the BJP?
Making such a statement that we are cutting into their votes, it could be said the other way around as well, that they are cutting into our votes. I don't see Congress or Samajwadi Party or BJP for that matter fielding minority candidates prior to BSP fielding them. I think that's what they have learned, that if we will give representation, they will have to give representation to minorities in the parliament and in the Vidhan Sabha. I think that's a positive effect that BSP has had, and I think we continue to stand with our community.
In 2007, BSP formed the government with the help of the social engineering that was started by Mayawati ji.
Yes.
Where the Brahmins
Right.
in big numbers joined BSP.
Right.
The core vote added to the core vote.
Yeah.
But after the Ram Temple issue, I think that has kind of moved out to the BJP. That was a temporary thing. And do you see any other community specifically coming to the BSP?
So we feel that I think people will now rise above communities, religion, and they'll try and see the real issues. I think what BSP has been standing for, other than representation to all, is employment, is safety and security, law and order, healthcare, education. And I think, including Brahmins, other religion will also see that if they will continue to vote for a party which focuses religion and subsidies and free schemes, it's not going to help their children. I think the voter this time is very clear that they want a political party which can help secure their future, their children's future, instead of sentiments of one.
So you think in some ways we also need to rethink subsidies? I mean,
certainly we need to look at actually growing India economy. I think our dependency on China is far too much. I mean, I think this year alone we had an import of about 100 billion from there.
Deficit, yeah.
And that's a big problem. I think those are the issues that we should be focusing on. Improving production in-house in the country, exporting, being a export surplus country instead of an import surplus country. I think that's what we need to focus on, and that will help reduce prices as well. If you can't reduce prices, you should increase the wages and income of people so they can support themselves. The subsidy is only it's a temporary solution. It's a band-aid on a deep cut. It's not going to help.
You've talked about law and order.
Yeah.
But when Mayawati ji was Chief Minister of UP, there were allegations that the SC/ST Atrocities Act was being misused.
To what extent and how? How was it being misused? I mean, I don't see any evident report which states that. I think those are allegations. I believe that we as responsible citizens, as leaders, as people in important positions and places, should focus on data and facts. If it is to be proven, then it's a mistake, then we should correct, and we will. If it's not proven, I think it is a little unfair and misguided to the, it's a misleading to the people.
Another charge that the BSP opponents make
Yeah.
is that initially, of course, it was kind of justified that all these parks came up and the Prerna Sthal, and that was appreciated. But later, there was too much focus or too much expenditure on all these big parks that came up, and there were allegations that financial irregularities are there. And
I'd like to take this opportunity to actually ask the people to dig up and exactly understand the cost of those parks, and what its percentage was to the GDP, the cost of the parks to the development that we had done at that time, the tax collections that had happened at that time, and the relevancy of those parks. So if Ram Mandir is justified, I think our parks, our way of paying an homage to, or a tribute to our leaders is also justified. And it didn't cost much. More than that, I think they were created in places which were being misused by the criminals. They were basically wastelands that were converted into very public, healthy spaces, communal spaces for people to come and enjoy. Today, those parks bring a significant revenue to the government. And every religion and every region, every community has the right to pay tribute to their leaders. And I think every religion has done it, political party has done it, and we respect it all across. We are not opposing Ram Mandir, we are not opposing Babri Masjid, we are not opposing Atalji's tribute by BJP, we are not opposing anybody's tribute to any leader. I think it is very unfair for opposing parties to do so when we do pay tribute to our leaders.
Reservations, the BJP has been making these statements. Home Minister Amit Shah has said, and Prime Minister Modi has also spoken on how if the BJP forms a government for the third time, it's not going to remove reservations, it's not going to make certain changes in the constitution, though a lot of other issues may be on the agenda, but not doing away with reservations. How do you see that?
I think one should look at their track record on what they have committed, what they promised, and what they've delivered on. It's very difficult for the common people to take their word on whether they will change or they will not change a certain section of the constitution. I think there were a lot of promises around employment. I think there were a lot of promises around development. I think there was a lot of promises about on defending the country's borders. I think the government has successfully created a narrative on how well they've done than the actual position on the ground. So taking one's word at this point is very difficult.
So in case the BJP gets an overwhelming majority, do you apprehend that they may tamper with the reservation thing or certain rights?
They've been very vocal on the ground, and there have been multiple news reports as well. Videos have surfaced in the recent past that their workers and their leaders have said in public meetings that 400 तो एक नंबर है, उसको पार करने के बाद हम असली मुद्दा तो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बदलने का है. We don't disagree with making amendments to correct the constitution, to bring it to today's time, today's need. But there should be a healthy debate, there should be a consensus taken by the people for all. I think that's more important. That's a healthy democracy.
One last question. BJP has been taking on the opposition on the issue of family politics, dynasty politics. You are in a prominent position in the BSP, you are related to Mayawati.
Yeah.
So how do you see this? How do you counter this charge?
See, empires are built and formed again and again over the ages. BJP, which takes so much pride in saying that we are not part of that dynastic politics, I think except for Modi ji and Amit Shah ji, in fact I would not be able to include Amit Shah ji or exclude him out of this. I mean, his son is also part of a very significant and a very powerful position in the government. All their leaders have been their second generation, in some cases third generations, are also there in the party, working for their respective agendas and their political ambitions. I think it is all right. It's all right for people to participate, families to participate, but I think being a democratic country, one's rise and fall depends on one's caliber. So if we are not capable, people will outsource. People will bring in the right set of people to lead the movement, and if we are capable, then we will be able to bring the movement forward. So I think it's best we let the market forces decide whether this dynastic politics is a concern or not a concern.